Terraform test specific mocking framework. Let's try to understand. So before that, let's get into the background. Terraform test. So Terraform 1.6 Terraform test feature has been released, and I have created a video long back, which is 1 month back, right? This is the video which explain about the Terraform test and its all native testing capabilities, etc, etc. If anybody did not watch, please go and watch this. This is an extension to the Terraform test. So in the Terraform test, what we understood is there is a tftest.hcl. This is the file which refers to test file, where you can define a unit testing or integration testing. So when I say test, means every run block refers to test. Here run block. So when Terraform test means one run block. Run block has internally this command, right? And Terraform 1.7 is released. This is a mocking framework, right? So this is the today's topic, right? And also Terraform 1.7 released the various features like a Terraform graph, Terraform ignore, etc, right? And Terraform 1.8, which is the current version, is sensitive function has been released. So we are not going through all these new capabilities, maybe in another video. So if you look at the Terraform releases, right, 1.9, 1.9 beta and 1.10 is in alpha version. And if you look at the change log, right, here in the 1.7, this particular Terraform mocking feature has been released. So right, so this is so if you look at the tags here, 1.8.5 is the stable version, right? So we are going through this next. So just to recap the basics of a Terraform test, right? Terraform test is nothing but there will be a tftest.hcl file which you can place in a root directory or in the test folder, which will have a run block, something like shown here. Every run block refers to one test, and every run block internally will have a command and assert. Yes, this is the high level structure of Terraform test. And when you run this particular test, it will perform this particular test and it maintains the state in the memory and it will automatically destroy. So here good thing is here we are running as a plan. What if you run as a plan? So this will maintain the state internally, so we need not to worry. This is the background of Terraform test. Now the same run block, let's deep dive. This run block will have a command assert. So here if you see command and assert, along with that you can use variables, providers, module, expect values, plan option, and I have provided in detailed video in my previous video. So if anybody did not watch, please go and watch it. Now the run block, let's try to understand more. So what we understood is every run block refers to one unit test or integration test, right? Here the two run block, two tests. So run block will have an assert command. If you closely observe, condition and error message. So condition is, this is the actual condition where you are placing. This is the my test. I am validating the name, right? Means my name supposed to be this one, then only my test case will pass, right? So this is a condition and error message you will define. And one more thing, this condition you will specify, right? That is a dynamic expression. Means you will be using a named values, which is this module specific output matching with our criteria, whatever the expected criteria, right? So which will be, this is a dynamic expressions you can use, where the condition, which is nothing but resources, input variables, local variables, child module outputs as well. So this module, EC2 module, if it has any child module, still you can directly refer data sources, file system, workspace information, and block local values. These all are called as a dynamic expression using a named values. This also you can refer here. So like a lot of flexibility here. And here if you look at the another run block, check name validation call. What we are doing is this particular module is producing the some outputs. So run dot name validation. So you are referring the another run block output directly from here, right? So that's a beauty of a run block and assert command, right? This is just for to recap what is it functionality, right? Now Terraform test mocking, this is the actual topic, right? So if you look at the my module here, right, this is a simple Terraform test module where I have an EC2 module. This is going to create an EC2 instance, simple instance for me, right? And here I will be using a provider, right? And this is a basic Terraform configuration. Here what I am doing is, here I am creating a AWS instance, right? This will create a my, just need not to bother about the logic. This is creating a resource, data block, etc, etc, right? And when I Terraform plan, right, the nature of the Terraform plan is you cannot see some of the attributes until you apply. Now I run a plan, right? Resource AWS instance, and it's saying one resource to add, correct, one instance is creating, but there are these fields only will be available after apply. I don't know what is the value until it's applied, right? In that case, do I have to create a EC2 instance to know all these outputs? Yes. So but this particular session is about some of that means some of the test, unless you apply, you won't be able to validate the values. Is this correct? Agree with me, right? So perfect. Now by using a Terraform test mocking, first of all, mocking is nothing but it's like a faking or a similar data, faking of a data. So mocking is a feature of a Terraform test. So mocking is not a separate, but it's a part of a Terraform test. So Terraform test has this mock feature. Now by using a mocking, we can create a mock providers, like a fake providers, fake resources, fake data sources. So which is same like if you look at this particular module, right, here I have a resource block, I have a data blocks, right? This resource is creating a resources, data block is looking for a VPC, right? And this is looking for a AMIs, etc, etc, right? In a similar way, you can create a fake provider, fake resources, fake data sources. Now by using this test mocking, you can test without creating a actual infrastructure. So let's consider this is just a simple EC2 module. What if this is a Kafka cluster or EKS instance or any other RDS, 10 RDS instances? How you will test it? Will you be able to creating a like a heavy duty resources, heavy duty modules, right? In order to create a Kafka cluster, it will take some time. If it is a EKS cluster, definitely 15 minutes it will take, right? Just an example. So whatever the resources taking a long time, you can fake it by using this Terraform test mocking and perform your test. That's the beauty of it. This is a very useful feature if somebody is working on infrastructure as a code and they wanted to test. And also it will of course reduces the time, because EKS cluster creation 15 to 20 minutes is a minimum. Then I need to wait for that time, and then only I will be able to validate the output, etc, right? So and a powerful flexibility of module testing. Yes, so when you are testing a module, right, this is my module. This module, inside the module, let's consider another 10 sub modules, still you can test. That's a powerful flexibility you have by using a dynamic expressions, right? So that's the beauty of it. Let's get into the Terraform test mocking. So this is what the purpose. Hope you get it. Next, Terraform test mocking using what? So mocking feature can be achieved using a mock provider. Mock provider is nothing but which is same as an actual provider, right? When I say provider, just take this example right here. This is the AWS provider I am using because I am creating a AWS EC2 instance, right? So here is the provider is AWS and I have to pass a region. Of course region is required, right? Here mock provider is like a same like a original provider, but it doesn't call any API, but it produces a fake data for what? All computer attributes. That's a remember. And there is another one is called overrides. So by using a mocking feature, you can leverage two different things: mock provider and overrides. What is this overrides? We will see in detail, but in short, resources, data sources, modules, you can override it, you can fake it, right? So we will see in the upcoming slides. This is the two types of Terraform test mocking. Now first one is a mock provider, this one, right? What is a mock provider? Mock provider is the same as a regular AWS provider, but it's a fake data. It produces a fake data for computer attributes. It doesn't call any provider API. So here in this example I am using a provider API, but when you call this particular resource block, automatically what happens, it internally invoke the AWS provider and creates a EC2 instance. But here no API will be called, because you are mocking, you are testing. Provider point of view, two different types to remember. One is the mock resources and mock data. So mock resource indicates a fake resource, mock data is nothing but a fake data lookup, right? So which is similar to here what I am showing here, right? This is a actual resource, this is a actual data block. This data block, what happening is, this is searching for a VPC. This resource block is creating a new infrastructure. But whereas my mock resource and mock data, mock resource will create a fake resources, this is a fake data, as simple as that, right? And mock provider is nothing but it's a fake provider, as simple as same like the original one, right? Now, and mock provider, mock resource, mock data, remember, which returns fake data as well. Of course, input is a fake, output is also fake. So when you are using a provider, all the required attribute must be set. Means when you are creating an S3 bucket, you have to pass a minimum input value, which is like a bucket name, right? So whatever the bucket name you give, it will produce as ARN. So required values must be set. What about the optional computer attributes? Terraform will automatically generate. When I say computer attributes, what are those? Numbers, booleans, strings, alphanumeric, collections, empty collection, and objects, etc, etc. So these are the basically computer attributes will give you the default values or null values. Now the mock provider block syntax. So as we have seen a mock provider, right, which is the same as a regular provider, but it's faked. So this is the what the syntax, how it looks, which is exactly as AWS provider, but it will have an alias, which is your own alias. So here this is a provider, default provider AWS. Here no need to specify any alias because it's AWS specific, so alias is AWS. But here the mock provider is just a mock provider, and you can give any name, any alias, which is here I given a fake, right? And mock resource and mock data. So mock resource is to create fake resources, mock data is to create the fake data. So which is syntax is something like this, mock underscore resource. So in the actual, the real world, we will use a resource, but here just mock underscore will be prefix, right, which is something like that. And mock resource and mock data, mock resource will have a default value, defaults. So this mock resource and mock data must have a default value, otherwise it will fail, right, because it should return something, right? Next, second is overrides. So override, as a name suggests, it will override the actual real infrastructure. So here Terraform won't call any provider API when you are using a override. So here two things here. One is resource, this is an actual resource, right? So in the first section, mock provider, what we understood is we will be creating a fake here, right? Here the fake resources, but here we're recreating. But in case of override, what we are doing, we are overriding the existing resource with our own values, right? So we are not creating here, overriding here. So override is the three different blocks you can achieve. One is override data, override resource, and override module. So right, as the name suggests, so this particular block is creating this resource and this data, right? and module is this module, but by using a override functionality you can override the existing for your test case, right? So we will see in the demo. Right now the next is, so and when you are using override you must refer the target attribute, that's we will see here. So here if you look at here, mock provider, right, you are using a provider with the mock provider with the alias as a fake, but override resource and override data, which is the same as a mock resource, but here overriding. What you are overriding? AWS S3 bucket, the already existing resource you are overriding with these values, right? How cool it is. Here you are not creating, you are overriding with your own values so that you can test it, right? So here the same as a data lookup. So when you do the data, actual data, it will does a data lookup, but here instead of data lookup you are overriding, so that when you are calling here, the Terraform test will read from here, right? That's the one, right? Now second, override resource, override data can be used on the root level as well. So here this is a Terraform test file and run block, here this refers to test, but here override resources can be outside the mock provider also, remember, right? This is inside the mock provider, here outside, which is in the root level, so that you can use these values for the all the test cases. Now here override resources in the root level, but still you can override, re-override in the run blocks as well. So here run block, what we are doing is, here we are testing. In this also you can re-override, means let's say one file has a 5 run blocks, for 4 run blocks you can use these two, for one specific run blocks you can override. So this way also you can, I hope you get it what is override. Now next, override block specific syntax, right? Here what we understood is override data, override resource, override module. So override data, which is something like this here, right? And override data must have a target and values. Override resource also target and values. Without these values it won't work. But override module will, you should have a target which is the same as the other, but every module doesn't have a values, it has an output. So for module point of view you need to specify all module outputs. So here I am referring my module.ec2, but whatever the ec2 is giving an output, right, these outputs have to specify. So in short, override resource, override data will have a target and values, but override module will have a output, target and output. So but target is a common, okay? Yeah. Now override block usage, as we have seen in the previous slide, right? Override blocks can be used within the provider or outside also, right? And override can be used within the mock provider as well. So mock provider is a root level, this is a root. Inside mock resource, mock data, yes, that's we know from the previous slide, but you can place overrides as well. So means something like this, in a mock provider you can override. Hope you get it what I mean, right? So 1 2 3 4, but override module also you can place inside the provider as per the documentation, right? Now Terraform test mock. So in the Terraform test mock point of view, what we understood is there will be override and mock provider, right? Mock provider and override. Now tftest.hcl, this is a test file what we know, right, from the previous. All the test file which refers to this particular extension tftest.hcl, and you can place in a root directory or test directory or any of your favorite directory. There is no compulsory rule, but default is it look for here. If you are creating in a somewhere else, means you need to specify explicitly. And what we understood is a mock provider which will have a mock resource, mock data, and overrides will have a override data, override resource, override module, right? And along with that, say let's say I have a S3 bucket mock related logic, all the mocking concept, I can put it into the one file which is called a tfmock.hcl. so this is something like a shared function, a shared library kind of, so dedicated for the mock data files. What you can do is, here you can create a many overrides and many mock resources, and you can use it for the multiple tests, right? That we will see in the demo. So the structure point of view, mock provider, override, and tfmock.hcl, right? This tftest, tfmock. Now it's a time for the demo. So in this test mocking demo, we will be going through the number one, what is a real provider and mock provider. That's the first one. Second is mock resource and mock data, and the third one is override resource and override data. Last but not the least, it's override module. So these four we are going through. So this is my VS Code, right? And there are two repositories. One is the Terraform test, and other one is Terraform test mocking. And if you go to my GitHub repository, Terraform test and Terraform test mocking, I will share the links in the description. So Terraform test mocking point of view, right? So one is the main on the root directory. This is a very simple. I am creating a one S3 bucket here, resource, just a regular resource, S3 bucket with whatever the bucket name we pass, the bucket will be created. It's a very simple one. Then second one is a data. Data is like I have already bucket which is test bucket by GVR. So here is my AWS where I have a test bucket by GVR. This is a S3 bucket, right? This is just a test bucket which is with empty. And what this code is doing is, which is data is a data lookup which is reading this S3 bucket. And I have a two output variables. One is whatever the bucket I create, which will print the ARN. Second one is whatever the data lookup which I am doing, which will print the data lookup ARN. As simple as that. And the another file provider, which is whatever my Terraform required provider, which is I need a AWS provider, and the provider is just AWS provider I am using. These are variables, bucket name and as well as a region name which I am passing. And here this folder envtfvars just is a Terraform variable file which is bucket name and as well as a region name, right? And another folder test template which I created at tfmock.hcl. This I will explain during the demo, right? And the other folder is a test folder, which is a test folder will have a tftest.hcl 1 2 3 4 5 6. There are 6 files, right? All the 6 files are having a test, Terraform test, right? So this is about. So first let's try to check my Terraform version. So I'm using a latest Terraform 1.8.5. so if you look at the Terraform change log, right, if you look at here in the Terraform tags, 1.8.5 is the latest release which is a stable version, right? Now let's close everything. The first test, right? Let's go to the PPT, real versus mock provider. So here my test cases are creating just one S3 bucket and one data lookup. So before that, let's try to see Terraform plan. I'm just running a Terraform plan, so it requires a Terraform init as per the right Terraform init. This is my TFI means Terraform init, which is a shortcut which is doing a Terraform init. And when you do the Terraform init, automatically .terraform folder will be created, successfully initiated. Now Terraform plan, just a simple plan. I'm not running any test, right, which is in the test folder, right? So when I run a Terraform test, Terraform plan, right, so it will try to show me that whatever the bucket what I am creating, and these are the values known after apply, and these are the tags which I am specified here, right? Then outputs, create bucket is known after apply, because when you create a bucket, so the bucket ARN we don't know unless it's created. And data lookup, which is already exist, so it's showing me the test bucket by GVR ARN. So if you go to my AWS and go to the properties, you will see my bucket ARN. This is one, right? So now the Terraform plan is okay, right? Now cancel. Go to the test. Terraform mock providers, right? What is a real provider and mock provider, right? So which is this one. So now I have a variable which is bucket name, right? This bucket name is different from what I am passing in the dev.tfr. My dev.tfr is having a my dev bucket 123. Okay, just ignore this. But for my test case, I have defined a global variable. This is, and this is a provider which is a AWS provider, which is a real provider, genuine provider, and there is a mock provider. So just syntax is mock underscore provider, and here what is the alias I am given, which is fake. You can give any name, GVR or whatever, XYZ, PQ or anything, right? So this is the provider, and there are two tests here. One test is sets a real name, right? So in this run block, what I am doing is command equal to plan. So I don't want to apply, just only run the plan, right? And these are I commented, which is not required. If you don't pass anything, what it will take? It will take the default provider, which is nothing but real provider, right? And assert, simple. AWS S3 bucket, my bucket dot bucket name equal to var dot bucket name. So this var dot bucket name takes from where? Which is takes from here, my dev bucket 123, right? And what is the second one? Sets a fake name. So here I am setting explicitly about the what is. So just I will delete this, right? Just for the sake, right? Right here you see it here. In the real one, I am not passing anything, which is nothing but default provider will be taken. Here my fake provider is this one, mock provider. And in the mock provider, what I am checking, same AWS S3 bucket, what my bucket dot bucket name, right? Which is what my fake bucket name, and this is the actual variable which I am passing. So let's see how it behaves, right? Here Terraform, so same like a plan, but only thing is you just need to pass test, and here you need to pass the test name. So here how do I pass this? Hyphen filter equal to test folder. This is a test folder. I want to run only one test case. This is the file, so I'm passing explicitly. So here you see it here, technically two tests here, right? These are the two tests. So when I hit enter, right, so which will first of all read this. These are the just variables and providers, and it run the test as a run. Sets real name is a pass, sets fake name is a pass. So these two test cases are successful, right? So which is nothing but first my run function is using a default provider, and second run block is taking a fake provider. Fake provider means whatever the variable you pass here, that is taking. That's a power of its Terraform fake provider. So in the fake provider, what you are checking is my fake bucket name, right? Say if you pass my XYZ bucket and just save it and just try to run the same test case again, it will throw error that your fake name is expecting my fake bucket name, but what we are expecting, this is wrong, right? So which is, this is a fake bucket name. Fake bucket name is nothing but this one. So hope you get it, because here you are overriding. When you are overriding a provider means it will ignore the actual real provider. So that's the one, that's a first test case. Hope you get it. And all the commands whatever I am executing, which is available in the Terraform test mocking, there is a readme.md file, right? This is the readme.md file, and my project tree, everything is available here. Now let me run the test this back before going back, right? So all is successful, cool. Now let's go back here, mock resource and mock data. Let's switch to here, mock resource. So what I am doing is here, first I have created a one default provider which is there, and I am executing a one test case which is using a real provider. If I use a real provider, all the variable will be taken from here, this one, right? Then I am creating, right, mock provider AWS, and which is given alias as a fake. Here inside the mock provider I am creating a one mock resource and mock data, and inside the mock resource what I am doing is, mock resource means you are recreating, right, mock. So recreating what? Dummy bucket ARN AAA, and dummy bucket, and data lookup I am doing dummy bucket ARN BBB, right? So the stacks ignore. These are the mock resource and mock data which we are checking. This is a mock provider. Once you define a mock provider, then fake resource check. This is a run block. My run block is pointing to the AWS fake provider, and what I am checking the condition, AWS S3 bucket, my bucket ARN is dummy bucket AAA, and another fake data lookup dummy bucket BBB, which is I am defined over here under the mock provider here, right, AAA BBB, not on the dev.tfr, right? These are the two. So now when I run Terraform plan and mock resource 1, mock underscore resource 1 dot, when you run this, right, it's successful. So fake resource check is successful, fake data lookup is successful, means this function is successful, this function is successful, means this is a data is matching. Hope you get it. That's a first test case. So now override resource. So let's, before going to the override resource, I have another test case, right? Let me minimize here. Mock resource 2, another test case. So here in the mock resource what I am doing is, just I am created the one genuine provider which is AWS. Now use a real provider. This is a normal, like a regular way where I am passing a provider explicitly as AWS. Of course if you don't pass also it will work, but just for the demo point of view I am passing, right? You can create a multiple fake providers, fake 1, fake 2, fake 3, and you can create as many as providers here, right? Here I am passing here. What I am checking condition, my S3 bucket, my bucket dot bucket equal to the whatever the input which is available over here, right? Next, mock provider. So here what I am doing is, mock provider source what I am giving, test template folder /AWS. Test template folder on the root directory, within that AWS provider there is a file is created which is a tfmock.hcl. What I am doing is, here same mock resource and mock data I have created and put it in this tfmock.hcl file, right, which is abc and pqr. This file is abc pqr, right? When you go to the test case, fake resource check, fake data lookup check, right? So here in the fake resource point of view I have to pass fake provider, of course, right? Here I am passing a fake is a alias for mock provider. Assert my S3 bucket, my bucket dot ARN equal to ABC, here I am checking, and other one is a PQR I am checking, whereas in the data lookup which is the same, right? So it's a kind of a reusability of, in the mock resource one what you are doing is, this mock resource and mock data you are defining inside the mock provider block, but whereas in this example you have templated the your test cases and checking here. So now I am running a mock resource 2. This is a test case, only specific test, right? When you press enter, right, this is successful. So which is nothing but, whenever I run this do text box, it's going here and checking this ARN what is output, but not the my dev bucket. My dev bucket will be ignored. Why? Because you are mocked here, right? Hope you get it. Right, now the third one is override resource and override data. So if you look at here, override test1, right, let me explain the structure. So in this particular test file, I have a mock provider which is AWS, and inside the mock provider I am using a override, right? So look here, not a mock, override, existing one I am overriding, right? Here in the override resource, what I am overriding, my target. What is a target? Here this is a target, my s3 bucket dot my bucket, this is a target, right? This is a target. What I am overriding, values. What value? Bucket, overridden bucket 1, and it's a ARN. Same likewise, override data lookup. Data lookup I am overridden here, data dot aws s3 bucket dot selected. If you go to the main function, data dot aws s3 bucket dot selected, this is typically test bucket by GVR, but in my test, overridden bucket 2, right, in this mock provider. But when you check the run function is very simple. I am just passing the provider, and condition is here, overridden bucket 1, and in another test case, overridden bucket 2. Both the places I am passing. This is the most important. Provider is equal to aws.fake, right? So now let's copy this name, right, and here just paste the name, right? The var file we must pass, right, because this module is pointing to here, right? When you run this, overridden resource check is successful, overridden bucket 1 and bucket 2 is matching. So how it's matching? Because it's taking from this particular provider where the override blocks are inside the mock provider, right? This is the first test case. Then second one, the same overridden one, I have overridden in the previous example, my override blocks are inside the mock provider, right? Inside. In the test 2, right, overridden test 2, right, here my override blocks are in the root directory, root of the test file, right? So here I am just doing a simply overriding, and I am targeting what I am targeting, AWS S3 bucket resource, which is a name. And what is a bucket name? Overridden bucket 1, and data is overridden bucket 2. And in the run blocks, simply I am checking what is my bucket ARN, right? Because what happens is here I am not passing any provider here. Why I am not passing here provider? Because it's in the root directory. There is no need of, see here the two different concept. One is a mock, second one is a override. So here you need not to pass the provider here, because you are overriding anyway. Overriding means the Terraform test will know that please do not go to this main function and take it from here, right? So overridden bucket 1, bucket 2. Right? So here, so just when you paste it here, overridden test 2, and when you press enter, then my test case will be successful. So how it's successful means it's taking from here. Let's say here, instead of overridden bucket, just 4 ones, just for the testing purpose, right? And overridden data, you put 2, 4 twos, and here 4 ones you keep, and here 4 twos you keep, and save it, right? And try to run the same test case again, right? Which will be successful, because these overridden blocks are root level overridings, and the same value will be checked, not the what you passed in the TF right? Hope you get it, right? Now the same overridden test 3. In the third test, what we are doing is we are overriding in the root level, right? Here my overridden bucket 1 and my overridden bucket 2, right? Just same way we are targeting the same, and values bucket name and bucket ARN, and simple, right? Same like a root level overriding, right? And in the run block again I'm overriding. So here when I specified in the first block, I used again I overridden bucket 55, overridden bucket 55, and here inside the assert function I am checking this. So these overriding specific to this test case, right? Hope you get it. So this specific to this first test case, and in the second one data lookup one overriding, here also I am overriding as specified as a bucket 66. So I am checking here. So let's see here, test case 3, right? I will run, so which will be finally passed. So here the concept is point to remember is, even though you have a override blocks on the root directory, but you can still override in the run blocks. You can do another way as well here. Let's, for the testing purpose, right, here bucket 2, right? So here this overridden data I will just comment for now, right? Instead of here I'll just put it here, right? So means in the second run block, just let me remove this, right? Second run block I want to use this, not the local overridden one, right? So if you try to, let me save this, and if you try to run the third test case, this one will be passed now. So means you can customize the overrides specific to test, or root level you define and use for all, right? Hope you get it. The number one override is in the first override test. Inside the mock provider you put the overrides and checking here in the run blocks. In the second, overrides are in the root level and checking in the run blocks, means not only this to run, any number of run blocks you can verify. And test number 3, you have a still overrides in the root level, but for specific test case you are again re-overriding and using for your test, right? And in the fourth, this test we are not using the override inside the run block, which is override data, the root level will be used. So these are the override resource, and I will provide all this data. I will examples inside this example, inside this GitHub, right? Please go through that. And last but not the least, override module. So if you look at the first example, which is a Terraform test, so if you go to the GitHub, right, and this is my page in a Terraform test, this is an example is provided here, right? So here what I am doing is, just let me close everything, right? Unit test 3. So first of all, let's try to understand the caller. This is a EC2 module which this module is calling. Where is my module? Inside the module folder EC2. This is my module is creating. This is the module specific logic, right? And the output is EC2 output and EC2 created for. These two are the outputs, right? So let's see here, Terraform plan. When I try to run the plan simply, let's see what happens, right? I have a dev QA UAT, right? So when I run the plan, what happened is here, right? So these are the outputs. EC2 created for demo, EC2 output, and EC2 output have a AMI ID, EC2 instance detail, EC2 instance tags, image ID, subnet ID, blah blah blah, VPC ID, everything is created, everything is showing here, but few are known after apply, right? So here in the module override here, right, in this particular test file, first I defined override module, and every override will have a target, right? So if you look at the other test cases, every override will have a target, right? And outputs. What are the outputs? Just now we have seen, right, the outputs. So because here this output section, make sure remember that whatever your module is resulting output, you must put it here. So let's see the plan one more time, right? right? Here is EC2 created for AMI ID, instance detail, instance tag, right? So these all EC2 output I have to put it, because here is the output, right? So these output I have to maintain as a fake data here. So this way I am not calling an actual caller file, but using this override, and here I am checking a name validation. What I am checking, module.ec2.instance tags name of name is dev instance 3, right? Here if you look at the here output, dev instance 3, right? So if I run the test command, right? So unit test 3. So unit test 3, since it's in the root directory, I am specifying a hash filter here, right? When I run here, right, so my test is passed, means it is considering this particular override module inside the my unit testing block, right? So here in this way you need not to call actual EC2 module, which is a, let's consider, which is a heavy duty module, right? Within the my override module I'm specifying what is a target and what are the outputs of only module, right? So if you look at the caller here, these are the two outputs of module, so these two I have overwritten, and whatever the values I pass here, which I can check here, so this way I can override the module. So it's a very simple. We will be defining a tftest.hcl file and define a various test, right? And so in this way you can leverage the various test cases, which is the most important for your infrastructure as a code. Yeah, that's it for this particular session point of view. I hope this particular session gives you the more some knowledge, something to take away, and please subscribe, like, comment and share, and let me know your feedback in the form of a comments. Thank you all. See you in the next video. Bye bye.